What's happening, everybody? It's Grant Alexander on the Clamp Podcast. We're here to talk about all things related to creating, living, and making projects. Joining me, as always, is Adam Mackey, and Morley is on vacation this week, so we thought we'd bring on a special guest. You might have guessed already who it is based on that introduction. He likes to tell everyone his name is spelt the right way with an I, and he started a revolution in the belt grinding world, and now he's taking ribbon burner forges all the way to the moon. Everyone knows that he works for it, but we're here to find out if it's hard work or good luck. Please welcome Brian House.
That was an awesome intro, man. Wow, you did your homework and you gave me like this homage and everything else. I love it. Absolutely. I'm like, whoa, I'm going to have to turn my headphones down. Is this what it sounds like when I'm screaming into the microphone? I love it, man.
Yeah, man. So why don't you tell everyone who doesn't know who you are and what you do?
My name is Brian House, and I run a small industrial machine company called HouseMade Industrial. You can find me on Instagram at housemade.us or my website, housemade.us. You can find out what I do. We make 2x72 belt grinders, and we're getting into, I like to call myself like a problem-solving entrepreneur. You know, I find like little niche markets that need massaging and fixing and maybe a tool here and there or whatever, and then I become insanely obsessive about it and then figure out a way to make it better, and then hopefully sell some if I do. If not, I've got something cool in my shop to hang around. But yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. So
yeah, and I think one of the things I really like about you is you concentrate on the part that makes sense for you to make, and don't try and, like, your 2x72, you don't sell motors. You sell the kit, you sell wheels now, but you don't sell the motor, you don't sell the VFD. You know, you recommend certain ones, but people, if they want the kit and they already have a motor, they can buy it.
Yeah. We look at everything from like any entrepreneur would, but like a marginal standpoint, and then also, when you look at like motors and VFDs, there's not a ton of money to be made in them, number one. But the other part of it is why try to split off a % or two just to make that margin, and when your customer can just go out and find it on their own, or if they have one, or we make it work with the motor they have or the VFD they have, which has become kind of a cool thing too, because we've come up with creative solutions for people that have, they might have a motor, they don't have a VFD, or vice versa. They have this kind of power or that kind of power, and we help them figure that out. And in turn, it empowers our customers, because then they start to learn about 3-phase power, single-phase power, the conversion, what Hertz do, and all that fun stuff. And then when you're applying it to like a practical application, like the spindle on a motor that turns a big wheel, that turns a belt, it starts to click for people. They're like, oh, is that what that's about? And it's like, yeah, man, that's how it works. And it's really fun to watch people just blossom into understanding that. And then if you think about it, think about how many tools in your workshop all have motors, right? They all have things that, I have a 1946 Logan lathe in my workshop that runs on a brand new 3-phase, 1 horsepower motor with a VFD. I don't have to switch the pulleys or anything. I can do that. And I learned to do that through the grinder project, and now it's empowering me to like do all kinds of other stuff with it. So yeah, it's been a fun ride, man, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely could see the use of putting in like a big motor and a VFD on pretty much any old tool with pulleys. It just seems like it takes it to a whole different level. And you can get so much more out of those tools that were so annoying to use.
Yes, and I annoyed just about everybody in the Logan Lathe forums on Facebook and everything else when I threw away the pulleys. They're like, oh my God, you're throwing away a piece of history. It's like, yeah, but it's so useless now. It doesn't make any sense to keep it. And my mill is the same way. My mill has pulley systems and all of that. We're going to convert that at some point too, and it'll just make the tool more useful.
On your Instagram, which has been blowing up, I'm pretty sure you guys have got 40,000 new followers in the last month or so. You always put in this hashtag, hard work, good luck. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about, because in the past, I met some people, and they ran a successful school bus company, and they immigrated over here from Germany. They didn't speak the language. They learned the language, whatever, and they just kept telling me it was all hard work. There was no good luck. And when I saw, and like when I said there must have been some luck, they were offended at the suggestion that luck could have played a part in their success because it was all hard work. And I wanted to talk to you about it because you have hard work, good luck, and I see you've got it on merch. So this is something that you believe in. I want to know, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I used to be in that same camp where somebody would say something to me about luck, and I would be not offended or angry, but just I would step back and go, maybe you're not quite in touch with what it looks like to build a business or be, self-made or whatever. And a lot of hard work does go into it. But I read a book by Malcolm Gladwell. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's like a guy that does deep dives into like social, economic type stuff. And it was called The Outliers. And he talked about being born in a particular time, place, and skin color. All of these things play a role in your ability to have success. And he changed my mind on it. And basically what that book boils down to, and he does a really great job of using not just like anecdotal evidence, but like a whole ton of really, really scientific stuff that basically proves his theory, which is, if you were born in a specific time, place, and a skin color, you're going to have significantly more advantages than other people on the planet. So I'm a white man born in 1977 in the United States of America. Generally, there was strong peacetime during my working years. We had some war, but nothing significant like a world war. And the way he puts it in the book is like, think about two ladders leaning up against a building, and somebody that has not disadvantages, but less advantages than you. You have every rung on the ladder, and they have every third rung. And so what he was trying to convey in that book, and something I took away from it, was that you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, which I'm generally not. And you don't have to, have a ton of money behind you, which I didn't. You just have to work really hard and have these certain things behind you, like luck and being born in America, being born white, being born a male. All of these things play a role in your success. And at the very end of the book, he says, like, don't squander it. Like, if you were given that advantage, make sure that you use it, that you take advantage of your advantages, of your privilege. And I truly believe in that. So when I started the Hard Work, Good Luck campaign, what I love about that is it spurs these types of conversations where people say, well, you know what, man, I came from nothing. Maybe you were a little young person, grew up in a town, a ghetto or wherever, and you had no advantages, no family ties, no nothing. And you climbed up and out. You clawed your way to the top. And I think if we all kind of examined, that climb, it would be very rare that some luck was not involved. I think that there is some luck. So, but I will say, hard work does give you better luck, if that makes sense. So you can't have one without the other. You must have them both. There are people that get lucky, right? You scratch a scratch off ticket and you win the lottery, and you know what? That may be good luck. It could be bad luck. There's some people that, the lottery is bad luck for them, too. So, the way I looked at it is that there's some urgency with my life. I'm in my mid 40s now. So like, I don't have a ton of working years left. And I look at myself as a person who's got a lot of time, or a lot of things left to do with my time. So I'm going to take advantage of my privileges and my luck and all that hard work and throw them all in the pot and hope it goes somewhere, which, it kind of is now. So, which is nice, but it didn't always, I've been working for myself for 15 years. And I would say only in the last 5 years, when I really truly started following my true path, which I believe is what I'm doing now, is when I've started to see the fruits of my hard work and good luck.
Right. There was the Outliers is a great book, and I'll go with that first because I had a point I wanted to say about that. In Canada, obviously, we got a lot of hockey players, and a lot of hockey teams across the place. And one of the examples he gave was if you're born in January or February, you're more likely to succeed in hockey because you're basically a year older than everyone else on your team.
That's the first example. Yeah, I love that whole analogy. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and my son's born in February, and I'm like, great, let's see what happens.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he's got some short genes in him, and he's not quite as tall or as fast as I hoped he would be, but I'm not either. So, well, we'll see what happens. He does have that advantage, and my other son's born in November, so I'm going to see how that really plays out. Like my brother was born in December, and he's over 6 foot. He should have been a top star in all of his teams. He's strong, he's fast, whatever. But I think because he was basically a year behind on everything, he didn't have those rungs on that ladder. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's the hard work would have paid off, but it's so much harder. You see all those missing rungs and you go, I'm not even going to try.
Definitely. So in saying that with I'm assuming you're talking about like minor leagues and stuff, like the kids' version of sports over there, right? Does it go by their school year or something?
So it goes by their birth year. So that's why. Yeah, so it's talking about if you look in the NHL, the majority of players are born in January and February and March.
Right.
Because of the way Canada has set up their whole system based on the birth year.
Right. Yeah, I highly recommend
I don't know if I'm remembering
that book.
Yeah, I should. I don't know if I'm remembering different from when I was a kid or what, because we're not up to that age yet. But I remember here it goes by your age, not by the year you were born. So if you turn, I was born in June, so I had to play in a year up. So our sports are like 5 and under, 6 and under, 7 and under. So because I was born in June, I had to play with 7 and under when I was 6 because I was going to turn 7 halfway through the season. Both my kids are born 5 days apart in May, 4 years apart, but 5 days apart. So I don't like they're going to be a year older than all their friends. I was the 18-year-old because here in Australia, 18 is the legal drinking age. I was at school. I was allowed to drink. I had my license and everything, and all my friends just wanted me to drive them around.
Yeah, that's actually what he's talking about in the first chapter of that book. Is if you were born in a specific month in Canada, you're either at a significant advantage or a significant disadvantage. And I think that's and then he goes on to talk more about, if you look at the majority of the wealth that was made in the world, if there's a small window of about, I think, 10 years, if you were born in a specific time and place, that you had a significant percentage advantage of generating more wealth than your peers. And it's fascinating. So that's where the hard work and good luck comes from, is that I try to inspire people by telling my story and sharing all of the failures, the wins, understanding there's so many people that have followed along since like day one. We have all these people who have kind of rallied around what I've done. And I think that it's awesome for them to watch a rise up of someone. And not to say that I'm doing that so much, but they're seeing the significant changes of my life, right before them, because I talk about it all the time on my podcast. And I give them updates about like, hey, this is what we're doing now. And this is the reason why. Hopefully it inspires people to see that it can be, if you stick with something, if you're consistent, and if you really have passion for something, that you can do it now. We live in such an amazing time where you can buy, sell, and do commerce all over the world, right? And you don't need much. The barrier for entry is so low. So, and when somebody tells me like, well, I tried this and it didn't work, or I tried this and it didn't work, well, just keep trying. You cannot give up. If you keep giving up, you're never going to get anywhere. So, yeah.
And
definitely.
The other co-host that we have, Morley, he was doing YouTube videos for at least 4 years before. Now he is literally blown up.
Awesome.
He's officially made it.
Yeah, he's gotten
awesome.
Like he's over 100,000 subscribers now. He's got 3 videos with like over 3 million views.
Huge.
And people are subscribing. So it's like, people seem to be liking it, and he's continuing to make good content. And if he would have given up, after 3 years and 2 months or whatever the number is, then I could have made it, right? It's always those I could have's, but I think it's something like consistency versus like enthusiasm and talent. You can be enthusiastic, you can be talented, but if you don't have the consistency behind it, you don't have that hard work behind it, it doesn't matter how enthusiastic or talented you are.
Yeah. Going back to the YouTube thing, I think I've noticed like a lot of people lately, every now and then there's one YouTuber. I mean, every now and then a YouTuber will make a video and they'll talk about like, thank you, like to all my supporters and all that sort of stuff. And they talk about like their background. It's someone new to me. And I think, oh, I've never heard of this person. But then they're like, I've been doing this for 10 years. And I'm like, wait, hang on. I haven't yet once heard anyone make that speech of like, thank you, I've been doing this for 10 years. That says, I've been doing this for a year. It's always been a long process of YouTube. Like, I don't know anyone on YouTube that's been doing it for a year that's huge.
Stuff made here. That guy blew up.
He's been going longer than a year.
When he blew up, he was like, his second video on YouTube was like insane. Anyways, I agree.
But
you know what? Yeah. I think that, so there's obviously going to be people who blow up out of nowhere, and that's the luck. But there's the people who do the hard work and get lucky and put out like, you do some sort of project, and Jimmy DiResta does the project the same week, and now you're getting recommended next to him, right? Like that's stuff like that.
That's
it
luck,
really helps.
Baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of luck. Unless you know Jimmy DiResta,
I feel
then
like
you can just ask him, hey, what are you going to put out next week?
I do feel like Morley had that luck spur, to be honest. Like, he's blown up now, but he had that one video when he was low in subscribers compared to now that hit 1 million views, and then it just went on from there. Totally. I feel like he definitely put in the hard work, but there was that luck for that one video that sort of got his name out there, and then it exploded from there.
Right. Well, and it was the hard work combined with the luck, because I also had a video that the impressions went crazy on it, and I don't know what YouTube, it was like almost the exact same time as Morley, and my impressions went crazy and it went nowhere because my video wasn't good, I guess, or whoever YouTube sent it to, they didn't want to watch it. Like, a bunch of people clicked on it and clicked off immediately. So, I could have been in the same place as Morley going, I'm making $1 million instead. I'm like, not.
Yeah.
The one thing about social media, it takes a long time to figure out. I guess I can't use the term figure out, but I will say it takes a long time to pocket your ego. For me, I wanted these opus videos where, either my face was in them or I was telling a story and I wanted to be a part of that story. And then when I started to watch my trends of the things that people were watching, I learned that people would rather watch my work. They would rather watch my projects. They were more interested in my design than they were my face. They were more interested in my story of who I was, maybe like my rise up as an entrepreneur, but they didn't really care about my personal life. And then maybe that'll flip flop at some point, but you start to pick up on those things, right? You're like, okay, if I just show what I'm doing and I explain it and I understand, like, okay, they like that and they want to see me design this, or they like this particular thing. And once you start pumping out content on the regular, like every day, like I do, you start to see like, wow, that trend is real. Like, that's a real thing, because, this particular one will go, that we have a couple of reels that went to 9 million views. That's just like, crazy. And that's the reason why I blew up on Instagram. And then of course now that has become like a virus on my feed. So, the 9 million people that watch that particular reel are now being fed all my old stuff. And I'm seeing, like, this is insane. So I thought I checked my insights yesterday, and I thought I was getting 2,000 followers a day, but it turns out I'm getting 4,000 followers a day on Instagram. Well,
Yeah.
wow. Well, who the hell gets that kind of growth? I mean, I'm sure it'll pinch off at some point, but I look at this and I'm like, all these people didn't know I existed. I thought they did, and they just didn't care, but they didn't really know me or didn't care about me. And the Instagram gods, the algorithm gods, just decided that today's your day, House. Like, you're going to get there. You're going to go somewhere today, and you better not mess it up, that kind of thing. And wow, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And what I also try to convey to people who listen and follow my work is your attention is a commodity, right? So like, if somebody's looking at your work, they're paying attention to your designs or your whatever it is you're putting out there. If you don't have a way to turn that into a monetization rather than ad revenue, you're probably going to want to figure out some sort of flagship product or some sort of thing that you could sell to that audience, because they're buying into you, right? And if you don't have something to sell them, they want to buy from you. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm terrible at sales. I don't want to sell stuff to people. I hate it. Well, when you really believe in a product that you've created, it's easy to sell because you love talking about it and you really truly believe in it. And I think that's what I'm like with Work For It, the podcast. I'm constantly saying this, like, half of your job is to make the thing and the other half is to sell it. And that's super important. Now you get all these eyes on you, and what do you got them? You better have something to offer them that isn't merch,
Right.
Try to sell them something else, sell them something new, create something.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I don't mind. I love selling. Like, I worked in retail. I loved selling. I love talking to people. I hate fulfilling. I hate the fulfillment part. When you were talking about packing and shipping, that would be the
nightmare.
very, very, very first thing. I don't like. I would just no. Someone else needs to do that. So that's why I don't do any products. It's because I just going to the post office is like kryptonite. It's
you just gotta get that pickup, man. You got to get them to come to your house and pick up everything, or come to your shop and pick everything up. We have a daily truck that comes by, picks everything up. I even put I got a forklift that forklifts all that heavy stuff right into the back of their truck. And
I think the thing is you got to get to the level, and then once you're at the level, you can start, like, the economies, the scales start working out.
Yes,
the reason for having 100 boxes makes sense, because if I'm shipping like 2 things a week and I have 100 boxes taking up space in my workshop, it doesn't make any sense. So until I figure out something I'm passionate about, I'm probably not going to be doing much product. But I think you're right that if you're starting to blow up on TikTok, I'll rewind a little bit. A year ago, I put out an Instagram reel that got 7 million views. And I was like super excited. It started like virus started blowing up, other things. And for some reason, I just stopped posting reels. And guess what happened? Growth stopped, right? So this hard work versus good luck. I had a bout of good luck and I didn't take advantage of it, right? Now I tried reposting all that stuff to try and I'm posting a reel every day. It's doing almost nothing on Instagram, but TikTok I'm blowing up. Okay. Right? I went from like 3,000 followers on TikTok to now I'm at 9,000 in, I think it was like 3 weeks. So every day, new TikTok, new reel, new TikTok, new reel, to try and see, and then see if I can capture that lightning again.
Oh,
and then potentially
you will. Yeah. Oh, you will. It's just like you're starting over, and that's okay. I mean, you learned, like, hey, if I stagnate, then the algorithm is going to punish me, and that's okay, because like maybe at the time, like, everything ebbs and flows, man. Of course. So you might get this hot streak, and in my world, it's the hot streaks are projects. I'm working on the ribbon burner. I'm working on the Apollo Forge. I'm just But at it's almost scary to me when I finish a project, because I'm like, oh, well, what the hell am I going to show now? Like, I need to come up with what's the next thing? What's the next big thing?
Right.
And so, that's the thing, is like, you just gotta, you know that you're going to ride that wave and that crest for a bit. And then it's okay, to go to sleep a little bit for a while, then come back and, just keep redoing it. Although I will say it's like starting over, if you're not continuously pumping, the content into the machine, it's going to punish you, unfortunately.
And it's even not just punishing you, you're punishing yourself, because you've gotten out of the habit. You've gotten out of the, like, you've lost any insight that you had into when's a good time to post. What should I be posting? Should I be grabbing the top popular pop music? Should I be grabbing the metal music? Like, what pops off for me, right? Because right now I'm trying mornings, afternoons, evenings. What's working the best? Because I'll go from like 500,000 in one, and the next one gets 3,000, and you go, I don't understand.
Well, let me give you some insight, some things that I've learned, and I'll tell you the best piece of advice that I got was from Gary V. You know who Gary V is? Gary Vaynerchuk. He gave the advice of document, don't create, and that changed my whole game. Where I put a ton of pressure on myself to tell a story and create these, opus videos, and sometimes I do that because it's really fun. But every day, that's really tough to do. However, what isn't tough to do is just to share everything, right? There's a story in everything. Every little thing that you're working on has a story behind it. It's your job to pull the story out and tell it. But, hey, you're working on a particular piece. The ribbon burner is a really great example, because I went through like 10 different prototypes, and I'm sharing all of that. And meanwhile, I've got all this noise from all of my social media accounts. Either A, you're doing it wrong. B, you're going to fail. C, that's awesome. When can I buy it? D, take my money now. All of these, all these things are occurring. So I'm like pumping all this data into this world that I'm, feeding the internet. And I have to be able to go, okay, I need to turn that off. I'm just sharing. I'm just really just documenting my journey here. And then bang, we hit it. Okay, we've got a perfect running ribbon burner. It's clean. It looks beautiful. It does all the things. It ticks all the boxes. It's easy to manufacture, quote unquote easy. But, it ticked all those boxes. And then I go to light the thing. I take all this time, and in an evening, I turn the lights off. I set all my camera gear to take the shots. I've got, slow motion, everything. It takes me hours upon hours. I create a reel of this thing just blowing out beautiful blue flames, and it gets like 10,000 views. That's it. Boom, shuts off. Yeah. What the fuck happened? Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm looking at it going, all this lead up, and then I realized they don't really care about the end result. They care about the story, how I got there, the fight, the climbing, the claw, the failures, the wins. They care about that. And that's really when it ticked for me. Like, I was like, okay, just document. I just got to keep documenting,
It's so true. When I look at my YouTube stats and I look at the graph that shows as soon as I put the finished product on, boom, people drop out.
Yep.
And you're like, but you watched this whole thing to see that.
Yeah, you don't want to watch?
I guess not.
It's a weird thing, right? I mean, it really is, but you're like, it's almost like they don't want it to end. And then they're like, oh, it's over. He's done with that now. Right. He'll move on to something else.
I used to finish all my videos with like glamour shots. I don't even bother anymore because no one cares. No one wants to see it. They don't want it. It's not.
Yep.
No interest. So see you next time. And then the video is done. Like, I don't even have an end screen anymore.
Yeah. I will say, so when you were talking about looking at your YouTube or your thing, and like when your face, you wanted your face in the thing, every time my face appears and I'm talking to the camera, dip.
Yes.
I'm like, come on, guys. I'm not that bad looking.
Turns out you too have a great face for radio, Grant. I mean, come on, man. And I think what it is people are tired of the talking head, right?
Right.
You're focused. You can show your face briefly, and I do it now, but it's a lot of B-roll. I'm shooting B-roll all the time. I just have a camera with me all the time. I'm setting it up. I'm shooting what we're doing, because there's never been an instance where I set up my camera and I film something, and then I go back to the editing table and I go, wow, I just have too much B-roll. I really, it's like I never have too much fucking B-roll. I need more B-roll, more, like give me more, So I'm like, I have learned over the years just, I have Bald Man, which is Brent Smith, working with me now in the shop full time. And, I follow him around with the camera and I'm setting up. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just reaming out these hinges. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to set the camera up here. He's like, wait, what? You're going to film this? I'm like, bro, we're going to film this and we're going to tell the story about how the laser cutter was off by 5 thousandths. It is a huge problem. And, the bolts don't fit up. And now you have to ream them. Every single one of them, all 400 of them. And this is a story. And he's just like, I guess you're right. People want to know that. They want to hear that story. They don't know it yet, but they want to hear that story.
It's so true. Like so many people will quickly edit out the mistakes, but everyone wants the mistakes left in. That's the whole point. It's not about just seeing that you made the thing. It's okay. Well, what if I go to make it and I run into that same problem?
Absolutely.
They want to know what roadblock you hit and what you did to get past it.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, you're back.
I don't know what happened.
The other thing no.
I'm here.
I need to sneeze.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say too is that, I'm pretty fucked with my new video style then, because it's mainly me talking to the camera.
B-roll, man. B-roll. Shoot some B-roll.
Well, my whole new video style, which I'm actually really enjoying the editing of and the style, is to talk to the camera and say, all right, so I need to do this, this, and this, and lay out sort of what I need to do. And then there's like a montage B-roll of doing all the stuff that goes like cut to the music. And then I'll come back and I'll talk to the camera and say, all right, I've got this far down. I need to do this stuff. And then I'll do another B-roll montage. And
yeah, I've learned the hard way that I think while I'm talking over I do the talking. My workflow basically is film all week long. And then I review the footage and then I'll take notes. And I'll decide like what I'm going to highlight. And then as I'm talking to the camera, 7 to 10 minutes, I'm rolling all that B-roll over it so that people don't have to wait to see, the visual and the audio go together. Mm-hmm. But like you, I love a good time lapse with music of somebody working, like a classic Jimmy DiResta or like Jeremy from Simple Little Life or something. There's just something about it. And I love editing them. I just found that they don't work for my audience. My audience really wants to be educated. They want to know what I'm doing and understand why I made these changes and things. So I don't get to do music montages as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, I'm so sick of voiceover. Like trying to write out a voiceover and record a voice. I hate it. And like there's a few people I watch that do videos similar to what I'm doing now, and I really enjoy their content. So I think like my audience is small enough at the moment where I can sort of give that expectation of this is the videos that you're going to see from me. So I think it'll
that's
work.
key. Expectation is a big part of YouTube.
Yeah.
Setting that expectation up front, and then your people will find you. That's the thing. The people that really resonate with your work, those are your people.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they? So I got a question. Are your people on YouTube people rescuing yachts that are sinking? Because I watched a couple of your videos, and then YouTube's like, you must want to know how to cast a 6-foot net and rescue a yacht. And I'm like, those are like 5-year-old videos. Why aren't you showing me any of his new stuff?
I should delete those or at least like make them private. So I used to be a boat captain and I would run charters and stuff. So I'd always see stuff like that, like sinking boats and things. And that's how I got kind of started on YouTube. And I made a couple of videos like that. And like my first one, how to throw a cast net, it went kind of viral, it got like 250,000 views. And then YouTube like sent me a thing. They're like, where do you want us to deposit your money? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this was years ago, but so I had some health problems. So I couldn't continue doing captaining, and that's when I ended up, basically building out a workshop and starting my journey doing, like what I do now. But it's weird. Do you do this now? I imagine you guys do this. So if you're looking at a video online on YouTube in particular, and you see something that might pique your interest, but you don't want to see a whole lot of it, do you sign out of YouTube or go into like a incognito mode or something? Because when you watch that, right, you're like, okay, now I'm going to just get all of these videos fed to me afterwards, and I don't want that.
So I actually have 2 YouTube accounts. I've got my personal one, and then so I use my normal one for like all of my stuff generally. And then if my kids want to watch something, it's going to my personal one. So my personal one, the entire feed is like Blippi and count by numbers and all the fucking kid shit.
Yeah.
So I have YouTube Premium, and I let my 4-year-old watch YouTube on my phone because I don't want him sitting through ads, because they'll put ads that are like 8 minutes long. And it's like, and he doesn't, like, sometimes he doesn't know any better, and he sits through like an 8-minute long ad, and I'm like, you shouldn't. And then he talks to me about ads and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want you force feed. Like, if they're gonna have the ads, I want them integrated into the content so you can't tell that you're being told to buy Hot Wheels. But anyways, so my feed, every single day I go through the history and I delete everything he's ever watched.
Oh my god,
it's good because
you need to make his own account.
He had his own account, but then he doesn't have premium, and then he's watching the ads. It's there's no win.
YouTube
and then
Premium.
I've got the family premium. So then our home Google is linked to my wife's account. So she gets all the shit that my kids are like, hey Google, play this.
My YouTube feed is a mixture of guys like doing metalwork and machine making or like weird tooling, and then like beautiful people on sailboats, because I watch a lot of sailing videos, because it's one of my like bucket list items is to do sail around the world at some point if I live that long. And so it's like a real eclectic mix. It's like, do you want to watch somebody forge a Damascus knife or watch this girl jumping off of this yacht? And I'm like, let me just think about that for a minute. I'll watch the girl now on the boat, and then I'll watch the knife making stuff.
It's so funny because I can relate to that too. Mine's either woodworking or gaming.
Yeah, yes. A little more wholesome probably than my feed.
So to bring that back into the hard work, good luck, thinking about that, how much do you think that your like all of our different various, like I watch gaming and woodworking or whatever, does that screw up other people's recommendations because they watch, like I watch a Jimmy DeResta video and then I watch a Hearthstone video. Do people think that people watching Jimmy also want to play a digital card game? Like,
that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, that definitely does, because you do get that thing where it says like, if people watch this channel, they're going to like this channel. So yeah, potentially. I do think though that there's some sort of mechanism inside of that YouTube recommendations thing that kind of separates it all out at some point once you get a decent enough history, I would imagine. But
probably,
definitely.
I would assume maybe someone like me watching that same Jimmy video might get like an ad for the Hearthstone from your watching of it, because we have that similar interest. Whereas someone who's never watched sort of gaming channels before, I don't see why they would push it to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. YouTube algorithm's so fucking. Yeah.
Okay, so I asked Austin Saunders what question I should ask you, and he said, if you were going to get tattooed on your hands, would you get hard work or would you get good luck?
Oh, man. That is a really good question. That's an excellent question. I love Austin, by the way. Like, he's like one of my favorite humans. Yeah, all right. So, yes.
Hard work, good luck.
Right. And so I thought but then it says, like, on one hand, it would say hard and good.
Hard good.
Hard good. What the hell does that mean?
Work luck.
Yeah, work and luck. I think, I I would probably get good luck, to be honest, because I really, truly believe that my advantages had played an enormous role in my success of anything that I do. Not to say that the hard work didn't, but it's definitely part of it. So yeah, and I like the idea of having good luck on my fists. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Definitely a great tattoo for when you square up in a bar fight. It just says good luck to them.
Yeah. Well, so I really thought Austin was going to say, like, you should ask him for a 2x72, but, you know. Yeah. Well, anyways, you don't have to answer that one. That was more of a joke.
We can get you going probably. Yeah, for sure. We'd have to figure out how to get it up there past the Mounties that protect the border. But there's ways around that. Actually, we've been able to do it.
Yeah.
Are you driving to ACC, Grant, or are you flying?
I'm driving.
ACC.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You just need to get to Austin's house and you can drive it back.
I just need to get to Austin's house and then he has one and I'll just drive it back.
So you're driving all the way to Virginia. Yeah. Are you driving all the way to Virginia?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right.
It's gonna be a fun drive. Only I think 12 hours. I'm stopping at Blackthorn. Keith from Blackthorn Concepts. He's in New Jersey. I'm gonna stop there, pay a whole bunch of toll roads because apparently that's what New Jersey likes to do, and then head on down.
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to Maker Camp, by the way?
You know, I'm not going to make it this year. I thought I was going to make it. Really want to go. Unfortunately, you know, I've had just a whole lot of things occur that just are creating it a really tough time for me to travel. So I won't be able to make it this year, but I am definitely going to make sure that during October of next year that I'll be able to go. You have no idea. It breaks my heart because all my people are going to be there. The people that I love watching. And I would just love to sit down and have a drink with everybody and do the whole thing. It's just I've traveled so much this year, and a lot of it was for work. And I just feel like when you're your own boss and you're running a business and all of that, and I usually travel with my wife, and she's my partner in my business. You know, business halts for the most part. You know, and then we come back. And, you know, we went into Colorado this year and taught a class at Kilroy's workshop out in Colorado Springs. We were out there for 9 days and we came back to like 180 orders. And it was just brutal to try to, you know, get, you know, and I run my business like Amazon. Like, well, if you buy something from me, I want it to go out in a couple of days and get there in a couple of days, you know, so you're not waiting too long. And that's a real hard thing to do with heavy stuff like steel and parts and all that. So we, you know, of course, pack ahead of time. You know, we have really good logistics. Like I really try to keep that going. But when I'm gone, I can't maintain that level. But next year for sure. Yeah. Maker Camp. Yeah. 2023 for sure.
All right. I'll try and get back there too. Because I feel like it's a great thing. So then we can finally, you know, we can meet in real life.
I'd love that, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, I think we should go in and we should thank our Patreon supporters. Unlike your show, we only list off the top ones because
I was going to ask you because you guys you have I'm having a real struggle with that, right? Because we reread everybody's name, which is getting out of control. And I'm trying to say, yeah, it's so we have not over 90. I think it's like 95 now. So
Jesus,
and we read them all, right? And I appreciate them all, and I love them that they've, you know, given us their finances, you know, like given us even if it's $1 a month. But I was thinking that that's not sustainable, so we would need to like go to a system like what you guys do, which is like just read the top tier. And then you know, I said this a couple of times on the podcast, and I got like DMs like, well, you can count me out. If you don't read my name, I'm not going to be a, you know, supporter. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, did you guys always read all the names or was it just like top tier?
I predicted this. I predicted that.
This is why we did this from the beginning.
Right. I even limit the top tier.
Smart move.
The top tier has 5 available people.
Okay.
Because I think it's something great to list them all off, and we have on occasion listed them all. But every week it gets to the point where people are shutting off their
Totally.
I don't have 10 minutes to listen to them
Totally.
say all these names, right? So we went with the top tier, and we appreciate everyone though. Like you said, these are people, everyone's giving us, a part of their life, really. But I'm going to thank the F Clamp level, Brent Jarvis from Clean Cut Woodworking. Now. No, I'm not. I'm going to thank the F Clamp level, Brent Jarvis from Clean Cut Woodworking, Vincent Ferrari from Handmade by Vincent Ferrari, Austin from the High Caliber Craftsman, Scott Orem from Dad It Yourself DIY, and Joe Herdina. Thank you to everyone. If you want to hear the pre-show where we talked about technical difficulties, and if you want to hear the after show where maybe we'll talk about something secret, you can go to patreon.com/clamp. You also get the numbered keychain made by Morley, and you can head on over there, and we really appreciate the support. And now, Clampmendations.
Clampmendations. I believe you guys know Chris Powell from Full Steam Designs.
Yes.
Yep.
He has a podcast called Makeshift, him and Corey from Odyssey. It's excellent. I mean, like right out of the gate, the show is really good. So go find Makeshift podcast because it's, they're just getting started. So they need people to start listening and everything. So yeah. Really good show. You would think those guys had done it for years when you listen to it.
Yeah. They got some great stories, like they're both from the Navy, and
yes.
They obviously they've known each other for a long time. So they don't have this awkward, what are we going to say next? It's a great conversation. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great one. Well, I'm going to recommend everyone check out the Maker Camp Instagram. It's instagram.com/themakercamp or at the Maker Camp. And Austin over there has been putting out some good stuff, and it's going to be fun to see everything come October, see all the fun. Hopefully there'll be some, good stories and posts coming out of there. So go follow that. And if you haven't got your tickets yet, I heard there's still some available if you're okay with camping.
Nice. I'm going to recommend a Netflix show called Welcome to Rexam. It is Ryan Reynolds, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they bought a football club in Wales called Rexam, and it's a documentary of like trying to buy the club and all that sort of stuff, and all the stuff they had to go through, and now dealing with all we lost this season, so we're gonna have to fire people and all that sort of stuff. I was hooked like halfway through the first episode. It's really good.
Now, when you say football, is it? I assume soccer.
Soccer.
Our version of soccer. I got you. Okay, good.
Yeah. Yes, we call it soccer as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Good.
Yeah.
In Australia?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's soccer here. Football is rugby league.
Yep.
Oh, it's rugby. So
yeah, rugby.
Another hand egg. Anyways. So at this part of our show, we normally do Morley reading a review in the accent of your choosing, if we have one available. So if you want to leave a review, head on over to Apple or Podcast Addict. Those are the two places you can leave reviews that I know of. Let us know when you do it, because that way we'll make sure to read it on the show. But since we don't have that, we're doing Adam's random colloquial slang of the week from somewhere one of our listeners sent to us.
I was going to say, speaking of what we call things, I actually got a message from. I'm sorry if I mess up your name, and I feel like there should be an A there, but Joe Hardina.
Yeah,
he sent me a word which discovered that it's actually an Australian word as well. So, the word is bubbler. I feel like it could be Canadian as well, but I don't know. We'll see. Bubbler.
Yeah. So we'll let you go first, Brian, and see. Do you know what this is or what this means?
I think it means water fountain. right? Like bubbler. Like is that what it is? That's what I think
like,
it is anyway. Like one of those things you walked up to at school and you pushed the button and like the water came out and you could drink from it.
Yeah, like a water cooler.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that it, or are we gonna have to use it in a sentence?
Was that your guess as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Joe, for that one. If anyone has a good name for this section, because Adam's Australian Word of the Week sounded great. I love alliteration. This Adam's Random Slang of the Week doesn't sound as good, so everyone could email us
Slang
with
of the
something
week.
better. Yeah, Slang of the Week.
It could just be Slang of the Week.
All right. We'll come up with we'll have to record a little jingle for it then.
Little jingle for it, yeah.
Well,
if someone wants to make us a jingle.
Yeah, totally.
I can do it in my radio announcer voice. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Adam's Slang of the Week.
Perfect. We'll use that for future episodes. I love it.
Yeah, I'm stealing that.
I will forever be on your show now by doing this.
Yep.
That's perfect. Well, I want to thank TF Turning for our theme song. I want to thank Brian House for coming here. Why don't you tell everyone wherever? I know you already said it, but why don't you tell everyone again where they can find you?
Sure. You can find me on YouTube at HouseMade. So it's all one word, HouseMade, or you can go to my website, housemade.us, or my Instagram feed, housemade.us. You can also find me on Facebook. We have a 25,000 plus member group called DIY Belt Grinders and Machines. So that's always a fun time.
Yeah. Now, I have a question before we go. When are the Apollo forges going to be ready for actual sale? They're pre-sale right now, right?
The burners themselves, you can pre-purchase those. And then we are looking towards mid to late October to have the Apollo forges in production. So it might be a little bit like I might not have been conservative enough on those dates because we're relying on a lot of we have a bunch of stuff outsourced to make them. And I'm hoping that these places come through, and if they do, sometimes they don't, but mid to late October. Yeah,
awesome, perfect in time for winter forging weather. You don't know anything about that because you're
heated up. I'll tell you what though, we have hot and less hot in Florida. I always joke about that, but like in the winter, we do drop like kind of into the 30s and 50s Fahrenheit, which is like kind of forging weather a little bit for us. We have to take our flip flops off and maybe wear shoes while we forge. So yeah.
Fair. Well, thank you again, and I look forward to seeing everyone getting some ribbon burners out there, and it's going to be fun. You can find us everywhere at Clampcast, and you can find Adam at Maker Mackey and Grant at the Grant Alexander, and we're heading into the after show. See you later, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.